Hey Beauties, this is episode number 7 of the Everyday Tonics podcast.
My biggest principle is just 1% growth at least per day, So even if you just practice that one movement for like 5 seconds or 10 seconds, you're still building like that neural pathway in your mind of, making that something that you can improve on over time.
Take control of your health. This is Everyday Tonics.
Hey everybody, we're back at it again. What is up? I'm really excited for this one. So this is the first interview of many more that I will be doing on this podcast. And my ultimate goal is to just gather the smartest and the brightest minds that are in health and fitness that I know will impact your life and my life. And everybody that I have in the show is aligned with my vision of what health and fitness is. So the first guest on my podcast is Tyrone Morales, and it's really cool because we're on the same path, and I think we're like at the same level as well, which is cool because in the health and nutrition space, there's people who are advanced, there's people who are intermediate, and then there's people who are, just starting out, who are beginner, who are starting to realize. And there's so many things you have to learn and understand. And it's really an important mindset. So this back and forth that me and Tyrone have, there's a lot of gold nuggets that are dropped in this interview. So, take notes because we talk about a lot of topics like fitness, our favorite workouts. We talk about travel. We even spoke a little bit about plant medicines, which is really cool to like relive my experience that I had sitting with ayahuasca in San Pedro when I was in Peru. And we also talk about our favorite elixirs, our top 3 supplements. And if this is an episode that resonates with you, if you feel like you vibe with me and Tyrone, I really, really, really would love it if you liked our Facebook page that we just created, because we're running an experiment and we want to see if we can build the biggest community that shares the same vision and passion that we do for health and fitness. The Facebook group is called Health Heroes, and it's going to be completely community focused. It's not going to be about me or him. It's about you guys. And we'll try to share cool stories and most importantly, people that you can learn from on the page. You can find the Facebook page in this episode's show notes, so you can go there and like the page. Now it's time for the episode, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hey Tyrone, man, what's going on, bro? How's Canada treating you?
Hey, bro. Yeah, it's a little bit chilly up here. Still got a little bit of snow, but sunshine's coming, spring's around the corner. But yeah, it's a beautiful day outside right now, so enjoying it.
Nice. So I'm actually pretty pumped because I've been like watching some of your videos and going through your content, and you seem like a very like genuine and honest person, which isn't really common to be honest. So I'd like to pick your brain specifically on things about health and fitness because I think you have a unique perspective. Your story's pretty unique as well. And you experiment, which is cool. Not a lot of people experiment and are trying new things. So it's cool to watch you, document that. So talk a little bit about your journey, like how did it start and like where was that epiphany or that breakthrough? Like I should probably like start doing things on my own,
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I've always, throughout my entire life, I've had like many epiphanies. So it's kind of been a continuous journey. But like as a kid, I was, always outside playing sports, always being active outside. Like I remember being up by the Canadian Rockies and just like tossing rocks at bears and going off in quads and stuff, being out in the wild and stuff.
That's a little sketchy, but
yeah, it is actually. Yeah, my journey specifically with health and fitness, like the first time that I walked into a gym was when I was training for a basketball championship in high school. And I was like really focused on us winning a championship that year. So I started training in the gym, and since then, we won the championship that year, but graduated high school. And then I was like, all right, I have no idea what I want to do, like completely lost. So, and then I just kind of fell back onto what I loved, which was sports. So I applied to go to school for sport management. And thankfully, I got accepted and had like a whole bunch of like amazing opportunities there. I ended up going across the country over to like Toronto, Niagara Falls area to university to another program where I was able to write an honors thesis on how sport helps immigrants integrate into society, and then also how sport could help people in Peru, how they could use sport as a tool for development for younger kids. So did that, graduated university, still same thing, wasn't really sure how I could apply my degree, but I knew one thing for like certain was that I wanted to like make a big difference. Like I set out with the goal of at least transforming like 1 million lives or more through health and fitness. So I started working, at like a health food store, at a gym, doing some personal training. And I just got into like a whole bunch of like unconventional fitness. So got a whole bunch of equipment like kettlebells. Have you ever trained with like kettlebells and quad maces and stuff like that?
I've trained with kettlebells. I actually, at the gym that's near me, they have kettlebells and I use it almost every day just to do some like squats, body squats. I don't like using the bars for some reason. It feels more natural to just do the kettlebell. And I like the kettlebell because I can do like single arm and it's more dynamic.
Exactly.
It's not singular movements. But I'm curious because you said you did your thesis on sports and how it can help people in developing countries. I mean, my take on it is that I play basketball as well. I play pickup basketball. It's my favorite sport because it's like,
nice.
You're having a lot of fun, but it's also like a really great workout and you don't even know that you're like doing, that you're just burning so many calories. But to me, the benefit of it, and I want to hear your take on it, but for me, what I get from it is that it's a competition where you see people a certain way, right? And after the game, after the competition, you realize like, even if you had differences before the game, you're like, man, we just made each other better. That's a cool thing about competition. It makes you both like grow. How does that tie in kind of to how it helps communities and people like relate?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's just the most natural way because it transcends language, right?
Yeah.
In my local community here, sometimes
it's like body language. Yeah.
Exactly, right? Yeah, it's an expression, like a complete like physical expression of like body, mind, soul. And it's like not only an opportunity like for us as individuals to get into like that flow state, but also for us to be in that flow state with others. And it almost becomes like a dance almost. So, because I remember my dad, he's from Trinidad and we would play soccer in the backyard and he would be like, yeah, it's, just dance with the ball. So, and then, when you get onto the court or you get on to the field with anyone, it definitely becomes some kind of dance of like energy. And when you share that space with other people, it's just like a natural communion almost, right? So
I think what I get from it too is that it builds a lot of discipline because you can only get results if you're consistent, and that's something that can be applied to a lot of things. At least like basketball used to suck until you start playing more and more, and you almost get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and you get better and better. Plus the physical benefits, you're sweating and gaining some muscle, losing fat. So
big time, man. Yeah.
So I'm curious right now, you personally, like, what is your current obsession? Like, it could be health, it could be fitness, but like right now, what are you like diving deep in? And it's like giving you massive results, and you're just like, it could be anything. It could be a freaking app. It could be a food. It could be a person. Just what's your obsession right now?
Yeah, my biggest obsession right now is actually like what I would call like self-inquiry or more like meditative practices, I guess. So things like float tank that I use quite a bit. Like lately, like what I'm obsessed with is using music and using that as like a tool for transformation. So like with like a lot of the workouts that I've been doing, created like a playlist where it incorporates like dance, yoga, meditation, and then like kettlebell workouts and stuff like that. So it's almost like following the rhythm of this playlist and you do all these different things. So that is like my biggest obsession lately because it kind of encompasses everything that I've been working on for like the last few years, which is, both like strength training, meditation, more yoga practices, and like functional fitness. So that's one of my biggest ones. And that ties into like me wanting to be even more creative. So yeah, just tapping into that. So
it's interesting because music to me, like, I think of it as like the language of the world because you don't have to know how to speak it, like anyone can. If it's a good song, people will know it around the world.
Definitely.
So I love music as well. When I work out, I have to have my certain playlist. You mentioned the float tank, just some advice to people. If you're in a float tank, never scratch your eyes.
Yes.
Because I did that once. I was like 40 minutes into it and I had to cut the session short because like I touched my eyes and I was done. I had to get out and I had to like take a shower and like my eyes were burning.
No way.
And I try to like play through it, like laid there and I'm like, I can't do this.
Right?
I gotta get out.
I did have a similar experience though, like first time floating. They had some of those like ear waxes that you could put into your ear. It wasn't like an earplug. It was like, you tear apart a little bit of wax and put it in. And it legit almost got like stuck like into my ear tube. And I was like,
oh my gosh,
balls, like for a while at the end of my session, they're probably like,
I imagine because you get like water in there too. It's just like, it forms like a noob substance.
Yeah, it was brutal, man. I had to get like Q-tips and do everything to try and get it out. But it just like felt like I kept pushing it further back. But I was like, damn, that was a trippy first experience.
So I want to talk about something that you shared on one of your videos. And I thought it was a cool concept. I've actually been thinking about it the past few days. I think you said it was based off a painting, The Inherent Nobility of Man.
Yes.
How man can use his environment to recreate himself and then in turn recreate the environment around him. I thought that was really cool. Like, can you give me your take on that,
Yeah, absolutely. Like the whole entire painting, I guess, was to use like the outside forces. Like, I mean, I don't know. People have seen like that Black Panther movie, right? Where it's like the suit, it absorbs like all like the physical energy that's being placed on it, right? And then it's like, boom, you can.
That was really cool, actually. That was like the coolest part of the movie, actually.
Right? I was like, yeah, this is dope. I mean, it's same kind of thing, right? Where we're in society, we're being told so much how we need to be acting. And all these different forces that are in play, like I think of like economic forces, whatever it is, like media. Media wants us to be a certain way or anything along those kind of lines, even like peer pressure and stuff like that, right? And it's using those forces, which kind of sometimes can create like a inner turmoil. Like for me, it definitely did. And I was able to use that energy to focus it into other things. And I was just reading the description on it when I was in the museum there, and it was like, like the strong man rises up and connects to like his greatest nature. And, it like brought up for me like a Rumi quote that was called the husk of masculinity, which I can send to you later, but it's essentially, listening to the nobility of our spirit and moving only when you hear that majesty of like our highest consciousness. So
I want to talk about a little bit about travel. I've seen that you traveled a bit. I think you went to Peru as well, because I saw a picture of you at Machu Picchu, which is pretty badass.
Yes.
What are your favorite places that you've been to like in the world, and like what can you recommend people to go, and why in traveling is important,
Oh, definitely. Like the first thing actually with the traveling experience, I think one of the biggest things is the pre-traveling decision, that you actually make the decision to go. Because I remember when I went to Peru, and there's a buddy of mine who, he wasn't willing to commit the money, which is totally fine. Like it's not for everyone, right? But he really wanted to do it. And same with me, like I didn't have the money, but I just kind of made the decision to do it, and things kind of unfolded. But yeah, with my favorite places to travel, I would say definitely Machu Picchu was one of the best ones, because it was just such a sacred space. Like, I mean, when you're up top there looking around at all the greenery around you and just feeling like, I don't know, just this like primordial kind of energy, right? So
yeah, I mean, I was only there for about 7-8 days, I think, but I went there specifically to take plant medicine. Did you go there to take any ayahuasca or any plant medicines?
That is in the plans for the future, actually. Like what I went for was for running a workshop at a university there called Lima University. And we were just teaching them about how they could use sport to encourage the development of like a whole bunch of their kids and build better sport infrastructure. And then we just had like a quick 2-day trip to Machu Picchu that we did. But that sounds amazing. Like, where did you go for your plant medicine one? Because I was looking at one like San Pedro or something.
Yeah, I would actually recommend people to do San Pedro instead of ayahuasca, because ayahuasca has a lot of like, people have a lot of opinions about it that I've never done it, and it's touted as like a cure-all, but to me it's very like, it's just a really intense detox, and it purges your body, and it's not a pleasant experience. It actually like, the point of it is to feel like you're gonna die. Like, that's the whole concept. Like like, it's not until you feel like you're gonna die and you're like, fuck it, I'm dead. And then it's like and then it's like all the magic happens. So like, that's the point. That's the breakthrough, you know, almost like you get like shot into another dimension. But I don't recommend it for a lot of people, because even me, like beforehand, I took I was on a really serious diet like 2 months before. I cleansed. We even drank volcano water 2 days before, so our system was clear. It really just like, I was like pooping water for like a day. So like, there was nothing to purge, and I still purge. But I saw people there who, if you have serious health conditions, it's going to be agony the whole time because you've neglected your health, and this shit doesn't care, you know? Like, I saw people there the whole time they were in hell, you know? Like, it was hard because then I was experiencing that. Like, you're in the same like cabin.
Right. So
the ayahuasca too, this guy walked like 4 hours in the Amazon to get the vine and to get the leaf and to brew it. So this was like wild ayahuasca. Wow. So it was strong. But the coolest thing about it was that I connected with the animal spirit, the jaguar. Like, it was the most insane thing. Like, I actually like became the jaguar. Like, I saw the jaguar, like he was hiding at the top. Dude. It looked real, right? And then I looked in his eyes, and then like I became the jaguar. It was the most, that I'll never forget. I think in Peru, like
you could feel into the body of like the jaguar.
100%, dude. Because I honestly feel like we've lived past lives, and that whether it's an animal or whatever. And I'll never forget what a jaguar felt like. He was like calm as fuck, but he was he was also like very strong and just like no worries, you know, just like prowling and just like didn't stress out, because it's like almost like the more power you have, the more restraint you have in a way. It's like a weird polarity. Because you're not scared or worried. It's like living on both ends of the spectrum. It was very like, it was a mind opening.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it really was. But I would recommend San Pedro because it's more gentle, and it opens up your heart. That was like one of my best experiences ever. Yeah.
Was it similar to like cannabis? Like, you felt like very like lovey, or was it more like just like?
No, just like clear-minded, like very clarity. And in the moment, I was literally like, you're just in tune and you're just appreciative of stuff that's happening around you. I was playing instruments that I never played before. It was insane. Like, I was that in tune. Wow. Like, yeah, and I was with like 8 people, and we were all like massaging each other, like doing healing practices to each other. Wow. And it was very like, it was a therapeutic thing because it literally like opens up your heart, you know, and it's that kind of vibration.
And has that like stuck with you, or?
That 100%, dude, I've been seeking it for a while now. My buddy invited me to go to Ecuador on a retreat, but it was a little bit out of my price range and the timing was a little bit short.
Yeah.
He's actually doing a retreat here in April, and it's like a men's retreat. It's like 8 of them. But eventually, you know, maybe I'll start my own retreat for San Pedro, or I'll go to one. But, you know, kind of off of plant medicines, like for food and nutrition, I've seen some of your photos. Like you're stacking the superfoods, which I like. You're making the elixirs, you know. That's how I changed my health, you know, like was, you know, superfood elixirs, because that's pretty much, you're taking out the bad, like the poison out of your life, and you're putting in like the healing in your life. You know, it's like a really important to do if you're starting out, to have like superfood elixirs and foods. So like, what are your favorite things in the kitchen? You know, like I see you have a lot of stuff.
Yes, absolutely, man. Well, yeah, I'll actually on the note of ayahuasca, I do have some little thing like tinctures that I take from some company called like Get Nyama, and they have one that is like an ayahuasca vine actually.
Oh wow.
So it's cool, but I mean, it doesn't have, you know, like the DMT effects. It's just like the strain of the vine that doesn't.
Yeah, because the DMT comes from the leaf, and then it's interesting because the vine has inhibitor to stop your body from breaking down that DMT, so it circulates throughout your whole body.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, like my favorite superfoods, I kind of go through them in different seasons, and I have ones for like different times of the day. So like before workout, for example, I'll use like the cordyceps. I love because I remember hearing like the story about how cordyceps started getting a lot more research done on it, because I remember the Chinese track team, they were like kicking butt, won Olympics, and then they're like, oh, what are you guys supplementing with? And they're just like, we just take like a high dosage of cordyceps, like no other like crazy drugs and stuff like that, just a high dose of cordyceps. So with the cordyceps, just helps me have like so much more energy. Like the first time that I took it, actually, I just had to go on like a run because I had so much energy, and like my whole entire like lungs just opened up, and body circulation was incredible. So that as a pre-workout is pretty powerful. So love to use that with the pine pollen and the mucuna, which are both really great for your hormonal system, and for getting like some B vitamins as well, amino acids, and just like a total strength builder. Like one of the health foods that I work at and that I visit sometimes, they say that like the professional football team, it's the Calgary Stampeders up here. So they go and get like a whole bunch of like big bags of like pine pollen for like their pre-workout training because it works that well. So just like a really good hormonal support system.
Yeah, does it actually have, I think it has growth hormone in it, like naturally occurring, right?
Yes.
Or it stimulates growth hormone.
It stimulates it.
Yeah, that's what's so interesting.
Exactly, right? So yeah, I love to do that. And then I'll toss in, some kind of fat, whether it's like a coconut oil or else a like a ghee butter, just something so that, your body can actually absorb the nutrients a lot better and use that fat as an energy source as well. And then I like to pair it with something like, either like a cayenne or something like that as well, just a little bit of that so that it opens up your blood vessels and allows like the transportation of all those nutrients through your body so much quicker as well. So
something that I like to do as well, like for pre-workout, I love like peppermint. I just put it like in my nose and on my tongue, and that really opens up your lymphatic system, and it almost like it wakes me up, dude.
Nice.
Like I do that before I run, and it gets,
wow,
because it opens up your whole like circulation and your sinuses, so you can breathe more. I mean, it's cooling as well. So it's really powerful. I like it in the sauna as well. It's really nice.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to try that. So yeah, I mean, like some other like elixirs and stuff too. Like that's actually like one of the best ways that I got in it was I was just using it like for my health. But then my buddy, who's like a professional long driver, I started giving him elixirs, and we're like, yo, how can like we amp up like your golf game even more, right? So we just started trying out a whole bunch of different herbs and started, every time that we like got a herb thing, we'd be like, all right, like what's the benefit of this? And then do like a self-experimentation and like see how we actually felt. So that was another way.
Something that's really good. I mean, I don't know if you have him using this, but since I've been playing basketball a lot, like my joints and stuff, there's more pressure on them. And what's helped me a ton is every day I make like a morning cocktail, and I put in MSM, collagen, like the powder, the bone broth powder, and silica. And that has made me like super resilient. And I put in curcumin too, depending if I'm like in pain or something. But that has made me so resilient, bro. Like I can play basketball every day now and I'm fine, So you said your buddy's a long driver. Are you like training anybody else, or are you like coaching anybody else at the moment?
Yeah, I've been working with some like long drivers, but like I remember helping my dad because he was diagnosed with diabetes for a while there. So I did a lot of research on how to eat healthier that way as well. And then just my own personal health, I did a lot of research as well. So, and then I love going into like health food stores and just asking people like what, if this store were to close in like a day, like which are the 3 products that you would grab and use if you could every single day? Like, what are your top 3 favorite products kind of thing? So I just love learning about it.
What are your top 3 favorite products that you would do?
Oh, yes. My favorite ones. Well, I mean, there's so many good ones that have like blends and stuff. So if I had to choose.
That's true. Yeah, it's kind of like cheating, but.
Right? Am I picking just like one ingredient, or am I picking like blends and stuff?
Well, I mean, I'll link it in the show notes too, because I'm sure someone will be curious. Like, you can do anything. You can do a product or one ingredient.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's one product that I like. It's by Health Force. It's like a vitamin mineral green, and it has.
Oh yeah, they're awesome. Yeah.
Right, because they just hit you on all the different spectrums. So I just love it.
Well, something actually I read, something that I'm actually kind of skeptical about is that the guy who started Health Force, actually, he died, I think, from like kidney cancer or something.
Really?
And I think is because one of his products, I think it was the Sheila G or the spirulina, had an insane amount of heavy metals. And that's the only thing with some of these herbs, you really got to be careful. Like, to me, I always tell people, like, quality is always more important than quantity, because you could be, a lot of these are concentrated, you know?
Exactly.
And if it has bad ingredients in there or it's polluted, like, you're just having a concentrated poison.
Exactly. Right.
All right. So that's number 1.
Yeah.
The vitamin mineral green. That thing is powerful, dude. I know for sure. Like,
right. Yeah, absolutely. It covers like the main stuff. Like, I guess spirulina is probably like a big one that I would say too. Like, if I can't get like,
I just did an episode on that, actually. I think I just like put that live today, I think, this morning, about spirulina. Oh, it's like my number 1, dude.
Sweet, man. Yeah. Well, it definitely is one of like those top ones that you could take. Like, if you're not getting a lot of your nutrients and you had to pick one, like that's a
100%.
So
being a vegetarian, like, that's what really, like, I used to get blood tests and my iron levels were always low. And it wasn't until I started like incorporating spirulina like daily, and because of its high amount of like chlorophyll and iron, that like I got back to better levels. And it's also like there's a lot of good fatty acids in there and protein, and like it's just good overall, man. I feel like it's actually a probiotic, which is interesting. It's a bacteria, so it's really healthy for the gut.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's what I've gotten from it.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't know about that being like a probiotic in that sense, but can definitely resonate with what you said about like the iron levels. Like, because I went to go give blood the one day, and the lady was like, "Are you like a vegan or something like that?" And I'm like, "Well, I haven't been eating a lot of meat and stuff lately, so it's probably something like that." So I definitely had to find a way to get more iron, and yes, spirulina was one of those things that helped with that. So
yeah, it actually has, like, I said this on my podcast too, it's like 2,800 more % iron than spinach, like by weight, which is like crazy. Yeah, by weight. Of course, you won't eat as much spirulina as spinach, but yeah. So what was the third one? I think you said vitamin green, spirulina, and
yeah, the third one that I would have to choose. Ooh, it's tough. There's so many good things that I use on a daily basis, but I would have to go with probably matcha.
Oh, cool.
I mean, it's a great pre-workout, and plus it has like a lot of great antioxidants. And then you're also with the matcha, like the L-theanine in it helps balance the hemispheres in your brain as well. So the matcha, I mean, it's just one of those things that is both, I wouldn't say stimulating, but it gives you a lot of energy. Plus it's also very calming as well. So
yeah. Do you substitute that for coffee? Do you do coffee?
I do coffee about like once or twice a month, just for fun, because it is nice to get like the huge boost of energy. But no, I
feel like it opens up my heart a little bit too, in a way.
Right.
But I haven't had coffee in a long time. I don't have it a lot because I don't know. Ever since I've been eating clean, and probably I think you'll feel the same way. If you eat clean and you eat right, and you get all the nutrients you need from food, and you're drinking a lot of water, and you're not toxic, and your body's flowing good, you just naturally have energy, you know?
Exactly.
Like, you don't need this external source. Like, I get energy from working out, you know?
Right.
Some people, it's like the opposite. Some people, when they work out, they lose energy. And I'm like, that's telling you something, you know? Like, you're not you need to get in better shape. But
exactly.
How do you feel about yerba mate? That's one of my favorite beverages.
Yes. Yeah. At one of the health food stores I work at, we have like the yerba mate and like the iced tea kind of glasses. And yeah,
Oh, Kuyaki, I think.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
I
yerba
like it
mate.
because it's a long, stable like energy, and you don't crash, and it's not acidic at all. Vitamins in there, minerals, and I feel like a god when I'm on yerba mate. I don't know. I just feel very like just open and confident.
Absolutely. Yeah. I resonate with that too, man. Like, yeah, it is one of those things where it's nice to take because you don't get that big, that dip, I guess, like what they have in coffee, right? Where you get that energy dip and you're like, oh, I could use another cup. Like, yerba mate is nice. So,
Yeah, you get highs and lows. I don't like that. I like to be stable. So, how do you? I know you said you like meditation and stuff, and like getting your mind right. Like, what are some things you do throughout the day, like every day, to make sure you're in check, whether it's affirmations or meditations or breathing? Like, what are your favorite things to do?
yes, absolutely. Well, I like to start the day by doing any kind of breath work, like, because I mean, even if I am just in bed, anyone can breathe. So that's the best place to
Yeah.
start, right? So I love to do like Wim Hof breathing, like first thing when I wake up. And then I'll do
What's that?
with the Wim Hof. So you do like the 30 breaths with the Wim Hof. Anyone who's listening, like they can go and check out like a video how to do the Wim Hof technique. But when you do like the 30 breaths in the sequence, you can either do push-ups or you can do some kind of physical exercise. So what I love to do is like a sun salutation for yoga. And while I'm doing this, I'll usually listen to some kind of chant, like, like an Om kind of chant. So like whether it's like Om or some kind of mantra. I'm not like ultra spiritual in that sense, but I mean, it's just kind of cool to get into like the whole entire vibration because like you
Oh
can feel
yeah,
it.
that affects you on a cellular level for sure. I know that 100%.
Exactly. So yeah, it is very powerful. Like even when I'm driving like around and stuff, I'll toss on that and hopefully no one sees me doing it. But I love to do like the chants and stuff. So but yeah, in the morning, so I'll do the chants with the yoga, go drink like a glass of water with some like lemon and a pinch of Himalayan salt. And after that, then yeah, I kind of like to do like a deeper meditation. So I guess, yeah. So what was your question again? You're asking about like meditation specifically, or?
Or anything you do to like, I mean, meditation is a way to keep your mind right, but it could be anything. It could be affirmations, journaling, goal setting.
Yeah, I mean, so same thing. I love to do the experimentation with things. So I've been through affirmations, through like doing emotional tapping, through writing goals, through journaling. But the one that I find most useful is just breathing. So finding a spot like by like a river or going out to the trees, anywhere in nature or outside, or I mean, I'm in Canada, so sometimes I just do it in my room, but
Yeah,
yeah, just a breathing practice.
you don't want to get like
So
frosty nipples. Yeah.
nah, man, no glass cutters here. So definitely.
So I mean, I see you stress about this, and I think it's really important too. Like you talk about nature. What do you like get from nature? And and why would you recommend people to be out in nature more? Like what are the benefits you get from it? Compared to like you being in nature versus not in nature.
Yes, exactly. So the one experience that comes to mind for me was when I was in Vancouver and I just went on this hike by myself, and it had been a while since I was out in nature. So, just the experience, it just like accentuates the 3D experience of having those trees above you and of smelling the fresh air and having your feet just planting onto like the dirt, right? So it brought me to like a more primal place. So I would say it got me in touch with more of my primal nature and my inner nature, and it gives me the space to actually have that mindfulness. Like in Japan, they call it Shinrin Yoku, which is essentially forest bathing, where it's a mindfulness practice where you just bathe in your surroundings. And just like how we have like mirror neurons, We also have some other neurons. I can't remember what they're called. They weren't mirror ones, but it was like if you looked at, say, like a tree, the neurons in your brain that tell you how to climb, those ones would be activated because your body would be like, all right, I'm ready to climb. So just being in that kind of environment impacts not only like your body, but like you in a spiritual sense. It gives you that space to really connect to that part of yourself. So yeah, I just remember like running through nature and I'm like, man, like what if this was like 1,000 years ago and I was like a dude with like a spear and like,
You probably were,
I don't know. Right? Exactly. So yeah, some hunter or something back in the day.
Yeah.
So
you know, it's funny. So there's a guy who he writes a book. He wrote a book. He writes many books. I forget his name, but it was Many Lives, Many Masters is what it was called. And he was a psychologist, really famous in America. Traditional psychologists like studied the way that it's taught now. He didn't believe in woo-woo or anything, but he had one client that she had a lot of problems, and everything he was doing, and he was actually really popular too, like one of the most renowned, and everything he was doing wasn't working. And it wasn't until he brought her into a state of hypnosis and went really deep that she was like living past lives. Like she was speaking other languages and like experience and talking about things that weren't happening in this life. And it wasn't until he healed the traumas in those past lives that she got healed. And then he had a seminar here and he was like helping us like, try to remember past lives. And I had an experience where I was like, because I always felt like I was like a wolf or something or some sort of like dog.
Yeah.
So my first experience was I was like a wolf or dog. And the way I died was I got stabbed by a hunter, or I forget what I was, like a coyote or something.
Yeah.
And then
well, I hope it wasn't me.
No. I mean, if it was, cool. No, it was. What's funny is I think it was me actually. So yeah. So I remember I got stabbed in the chest in the wolf, and then like that was it. I was like, next life. And then my next life, dude, that I was like going through it, and this was like I never thought about this before. It just all kind of came through my mind as we were going. He was like guiding us like through this like hypnosis.
Yeah.
My next life, I was a hunter as well, and I remember, no, sorry, this is all reverse. Sorry. My first life, I was a hunter and then I was a dog. But when I was the hunter in the first life, that's how I killed a dog. I stabbed him in the chest. And then my next life, I lived it. Like, and I was like, wait, is that how karma works? What you do in this, like one life, like you'll receive it in your next life. And I was like, whoa.
Wow.
And no one ever told me that. And it just all just came like naturally. I'm like, how the fuck did that come to my mind? So a lot of shamans talk about that too, how we live different lives and we're going to live more lives. We don't just live in a 3D world. That's just what we understand right now. But
definitely,
I like to say like, so a lot of people know that, or probably believe that there's other life in space, like space is too big for there not to be other life.
Right.
And the odds of there being life that's more advanced than us, like even if it's like 1,000 years more advanced than us, they're like light years beyond us, So
exactly.
I try not to limit my mind into like what's possible, The point of life is to always discover more, So yeah.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, there's no use in putting limitations on what you're talking about. So, and I love how you're talking about like the animals and stuff like that too. Like, I feel like shamans are much more connected to like animal spirits and stuff too.
Yeah, there's tons of like, and they're symbolic, like the eagle and the bear and like tons of animals, even like the ocean animals. Like, what is it? Dolphins have bigger brains than us, I think.
Yes.
Like they're smarter than us. Like they're smart as fuck, man. I don't know if I've seen a dolphin once, and they like when they look at you, like they look at you with intelligence. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like they're smart. They're not like just chilling and they're like they run shit down there.
Exactly.
The ocean's more mysterious than the space, which is really cool.
Yes.
So what I like about nature too is that it almost like it gets you in a flow state. It gets you not thinking about the past or future, but like what's happening in the present, because it's like you're like in the present.
Yes.
That's my biggest benefit from being out in nature. How do you like to get in flow? Because I've heard you speak about that.
Yeah, my first experience with flow was during I've had many, but the one that I recall was in a basketball game, and I don't know if you saw the movie. It's like called Angels in the Outfield.
Dude, that's my favorite movie, dude.
Right?
I had it on VHS.
It's so good, man. And I had an experience like that where it was like, completely effortless. And it just felt like there's legit like an angel that just like made me shoot. I pulled up at like NBA range, and the coach was like, yo, Tyrone, like, run blue 42 or whatever. And I was like, all right, coach. And like, just felt this feeling come over me to shoot it. And I was like, it was perfect swish. And I just looked at my coach and I was like, I don't know, dude. But my favorite way to get into flow is definitely during basketball, and being in nature as well.
Me too. Basketball is like lately has been like, because it's a challenge. Like you need a challenge, something that forces you to like, tunnel vision in a way to get into flow,
Yes, exactly. Right. And I don't know if you've read the book, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi on flow, but he looks at it from so he talks about it from like the scientific perspective of like, it's almost like at that intersection where you have like your challenge and then your skill level. So if you have like an X and a Y graph, like the X would be like, your skill level and the Y would be the challenge. And it's like at that intersection point in the middle, that's kind of where like your flow is. So, but for me, yeah, it's in nature when I'm just running completely free with like no purpose. And I don't know, I just feel so immersed in everything. Like I love to do cold plunges, and like when I'm climbing, that's the biggest thing is when I'm climbing a mountain, because I have the most resistance going up, like still not the greatest with like fear of heights and stuff like that. So when I do come to a place where it feels like there's an inner harmony almost, and everything is just transcended, like what you were talking about before, where there's no future, there's no past, you're just completely in the moment. So just challenging myself in nature, I guess, is like one of the best ways, along with basketball. So
100%. So time is flying by, man. I'm going to ask you a few more questions. One is like, a lot of people are confused on like what kind of workouts to do or how to stay fit or like fitness in general. And it's really like crippling and paralyzing people. I see it happens to people in my family, and it's pretty sad, to be honest, because it's all mental, I mean, it's physical as well. But how do you what do you recommend to people to like how to work out and like advice, what not to do, what to do, even if they're just getting started?
Yes. So I would let everyone know that every single person's unique way of health and fitness is going to be completely different. And when you replace judgment with curiosity, it's a big mindset shift where, because before I've been through the process where I was judging myself a lot for my workouts. Even if I wasn't going 5 days a week, it was like, dude, like, how could you miss a workout? So I would say just be.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Right? It's like, it's almost like a big loop, and it's
almost like I only made like big progression when I stopped caring about what people said, how I should work out, or like the norms. Like, oh, you should do this day. And the key is to make it fun, because then if it's not fun, it's a chore, and no one likes doing chores,
Exactly. Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is making it fun and also functional. So I guess you could toss in like those two together, right? So
yeah, capital fun. Yeah,
exactly. So start with like, for myself, like I love to experiment. So I would start with like basic movements like squat, deadlift, those kind of things, or even just like air squats throughout the day and stuff like that. But with like kettlebells and stuff like that, that's my favorite way to do it. And I would just pick like one workout and learn how to do that every single day, just to make it fun, to mix up your workouts. But yeah, definitely make the mindset shift. Like the mindset is to make it, fun. It is supposed to be fun.
So in your mind, like, what is vitality? And also, I saw you mention that you're writing like a vitality guide book or a guide. Like, what is that about? I'm curious.
Yeah, absolutely. So like vitality for me is our ability to grow and give. Like one of the biggest mindset shifts that I had, well, it was kind of more of a reaffirmation. It was from Wim Hof when he said, when you're happy, you're healthy, and you're strong, and you share that energy with other people, like that's loving, right? So for vitality, for me, that's when we really realize our full potential to grow and to live life to the fullest. And when we share that energy with other people, like that's vitality to me. Like, I mean, even seeing like someone who's 100 years old and, they're smiling and laughing, that's vitality to me, or if you see someone give someone a compliment in a grocery store, like that's like, they're giving life to other people, they're uplifting other people. So that's kind of vitality to me. Yeah. So with the vitality guide, it's kind of just like a tool for people to experiment with their own unique way of vitality. So like I said before, everyone's way is totally different. So what the vitality guide is just offering people like a 1 day or one practice that they can do every single day. So for example, let's say, people want to learn more about fitness. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that I learned over my time through self-experimentation and through listening to other people, working with like professional athletes and stuff like that, stuff that I learned, that they can just pick one of those things and work on that for like a day. Because my biggest principle is just 1% growth at least per day, so even if you just practice that one movement for like 5 seconds or 10 seconds, you're still building like that neural pathway in your mind of, making that something that you can improve on over time. So it was like what we were talking about in basketball where, that practice, you're almost, making it like a mini discipline, but you're also making it fun. So the vitality guide is just something where people can pick something either for their body, their mind, or their spirit, and they can try it out for a day and see how it affects them, because we're all so different. So some people might like one practice more than the other. So
yeah, I really like that, because we're all aware of like where our strengths and weaknesses are, and health is like a big pie, and all these things like diet, nutrition, emotions, like physical acts, but they're all just like slices of the pie. So if you know where you're weak, like what to focus on. That's really cool. I like that.
Big time.
So it was awesome talking with you, man, and like sharing and going back and forth. But for people who are like, they want to follow you or know what you're doing, I know you got a podcast, you got a Facebook group going on. Like, where's the best place to follow you, get in contact with you and such?
Yes. So the best place that people can find me is, I just changed the URL. It's tyronemorales.com now, but that's where they can get access to all the full episodes for the show that I do, where they can get access to the Vitality Guide, and where they can also join the Facebook group that I'm creating, where it's going to be a lot of exclusive content for people and a great way for people to network as well. So connect with other people. So, and then my YouTube channel is just Tyrone Morales, and my Instagram is Tyrone_Morales. That's where I post a lot more like nature videos and just some everyday vitality adventures and some health hacks that people can check out. So
that's awesome, man. Well, if people are listening, like it's cool having you on, because I think there's people at all levels. Like there's people who are below us, there's people who are at our level, like as far as like on certain topics, and there's people who are above us. And like, it's cool hearing your story, because I feel like we're at the same level and we're both growing together. So, it'll be cool to see your journey and how everything evolves. And I know I just started this podcast literally in March 1st. So here's to more growth, man, and like see how things evolve, man.
Thanks, man. And yeah, I would love to like acknowledge you as well for reaching out and making this happen. And it's been, a pleasure for sure. And I think that we're just scratching the surface, like what you're saying, like we're definitely growing even more day by day. So it is very exciting. And I'm very grateful for you reaching out and for the chance for us to have this conversation too. So I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. My goal is just to serve people, like however I can, like the point of us like having knowledge on something is to share it, so this is kind of my way of sharing. But dude, thanks for being on the show, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome, man. Take care, bro.
Right on, man.
This is Everyday Tonics.